Welcome to Radio Free Will. I'm your host, George McCullough, and this is a podcast for sovereign people. Back again with us is Michelle Mockers, artist, activist, and philosopher. And Michelle, how are you doing?
Very well. Pleased to be with you, George.
Okay, good. Forgot to put his mic up in the very beginning. I'm glad we tested that. So what's new in the news?
Tell me.
No, there's nothing. So what
we go through do we keep on going through the program?
We're going to keep on going, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. Okay?
Tell me, go ahead.
All right, so we're going to futurecast. It's 2019, and what we're going to do is we're going to project into the future. The way you see the future going, right?
Yes.
Without the positive dialectic, for folks who are just tuning in for the first time, the positive dialectic is a philosophy for positive living. How would you describe it, Michelle?
Well, the future without it?
We're going to discuss the future without it and then the future with it.
The future without it is, getting back and since the beginning we are following the same way, which is a way full of misery. Let's say full of miseries, except for few people, very few of miseries. For most of humanity, is unhappy.
I agree with you. And so the positive dialectic is, how would you describe the document?
Very, very simply, I am a painter. So I say it's like a painting. It's a philosophy with not too much and not enough. It's a balanced philosophy, which means that you have the development of the individual, but to a certain extent, money-wise. Means that if I consider my dialectic as a painting, you don't paint on the wall above the painting or under the painting. You remain, and means that the money that the maximum money that can have someone must be measured, must be, it's impossible that 2 people or 3 people or 10 people own the world. That's not right. That is absolutely not right. The world belongs to everybody, to every individual which is in the world. That's the basic thing, my dear.
So if you were a farmer instead of an artist, you could think of it as we were fencing in the goats. No goats outside of the fence over here, no goats outside of the fence over there.
The goats,
free reign inside.
No, but you take the goats, and the goats are a very special animal. You cannot let them do completely what they want, because they are very smart, and they will destroy all what you will have a lot of time to put up. Your garden, they will eat all that. I know very well the goats, because I've been in charge of goats for a little period of time. They are the most, they are very intelligent, if I can say so. They are very smart and very fast. On their legs, they are very, very fast. And they take absolutely everything. They could leave the ground flat where you had a garden. That's the goat. So if I am a farmer with goat, I will try to keep my goat in a certain extent, not to let them go absolutely everywhere.
So the philosophy could work with goats.
Of course.
People are like goats. They're smart, and they'll level everything to the ground.
Yeah. What is, if you want, what is wrong for me in philosophy, communism, or even capitalism, is that it limits. You must not limit the possibility of people. You have to let the individual express itself. What is absolutely wrong with communism is that everybody is the same at the same. Forget that. Everybody has a personality that it must develop to be happy. But you must help. You must help that. You must help that in the beginning by if you want, a good education, and beside that, after that, by a society which allows you to be original, but forbid you to be at the point where you own the society. That is unacceptable. That only few people, and it's like that since centuries, my dear. The king was the super king, and today you have no king with a crown over his head, but you have a king with the money in his pocket. So that is not possible. That is not acceptable.
No monopolies.
No monopolies.
Okay. So let's play this little game here, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to paint a picture for the audience. We're looking at a fork in the road. Right now it's 2019.
Yeah.
And we're going to project out to 2050.
Yeah.
Okay. One going on the path that we're human beings are going on now, and one where if the positive dialectic was adopted.
Yeah.
And we're going to try to explain the difference. Okay. So we're going to count through the years. You don't have to. So 2019. At 2020, how do you see the world just going without the positive dialectic first?
Like it was going since it was going, means that the people with the power are still the people with the power. All the nations are more or less against each other. We are the capitalists against the communists, and the communists against the capitalists, and so on. So against the, if you want to go on, the Arabian, all that type of thing, ISIS and all that. So it's still the fighting of, or I don't want to go into the religion problem, but the fighting of the political problem. We're exactly menacing the war to this one or this one of this one if they don't do what we want them to do. And it's always the same problem, and it will always be like that if we keep on doing exactly the same thing.
So you just, in 2020, you see more conflicts.
Coming, certainly.
Yeah, okay.
Certainly, which is dramatic if you want now, because we have the armaments that we didn't have, let's say, 3 centuries ago. When they created the Constitution, they didn't have those guns that we have today, and they don't talk about all that. Huh? They don't talk about the people, they don't talk about armament, and now, on the contrary, we keep on the history of the people who saved the country, we created the country, Washington going through the woods here, next woods, to go to fight to fight next door. So, we keep on with that, and we keep on, which is worse, the spirit is that we still are menacing the others. Still menacing the others, one way or another one. Commercially or military speaking, we are always menacing people. We are, and if I talk about the American, for example, we are the richest. So everybody has to listen to us because we can give lessons to anybody. Proof, we are the richest.
Yeah, I got to say, to tag on to that, it looks like we're right next to Mercer County here in New Jersey, and it looks like Mercer County will be purchasing their first armored vehicle for their police department. It's like, so you see police departments getting more and more like the military?
Yeah, we're not with a tank in the streets,
What are they expecting? Are they expecting the people to riot?
And that is very bad. For me, that is very bad if you want mind disposition. Why do we need, in Princeton, which is basically, let's say, university and a quiet town, which develop into in town, why do we need vehicles, armored vehicles, to fight against whom?
Right.
To fight whom? Or as an example, they will maneuver that thing in the streets as an example, or be quiet people because now we have an armored vehicle. Oh, come on.
Well, they'll probably be showing it off during the Memorial Day parade, right?
Oh, of course, come on. That thing will go everywhere where there will be a demonstration.
It's an expensive float.
Of course, but hey, that's part of it.
Hopefully they won't use it. So in 2020, if people adopted the positive dialectic, what would the first year of the positive dialectic look like?
You cannot establish in
I know, I'm going to
in 1 year.
make your work today, Michel.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, but the positive dialectic is more or less a disposition of the mind that we have to address the others as we are supposedly the richest, the powerful, the most richest, the most whatever it is in the world, we also should be the people who give the most example of what should be done to keep Earth in peace and comfortable for everybody.
So the first year would be just trying to set examples and leading a path towards a more peaceful planet.
Absolutely. You have to change, we have to change our mind vis-à-vis, for example, vis-à-vis of communism. You know, the most strange things, and it's where, in fact, business, I'm sorry to say that, and I don't go out of our conversation, but what is the main thing of the world? Business. Because business gives money. We are the richest country in the world. Why? Because we are the most, with the most business in the world. Now, what is very, very strange, for example, is that at the end of World War II, America was the most constructive country with all the armaments and everything. And all of a sudden, when I buy a pair of shoes, it's made in China. Why is it made in China instead of made in America? Explain to me why. If not because in China, the manufacturing my shoes, instead of being, for example, $20, it was over there, it was $2. So you transport the $2 here with the cheapest, now the boat, the big boats are cheap, and you sell them for $5. You can sell them for $5 that you could not do if you were making them in America. And it's all like that. Everything is like that. It's not, it's not a question of relationship. It's a question of money relationship between all the countries. Even China is in the same thing. Even the communists are in the same problem. With us most, because we are at there. Why did we build big companies over there instead of here? Explain to me why. There is no explanation.
To exploit the labor.
For the labor, because they were not paying the labor over there. The labor was very, very cheap, so the manufacturing something was very, very cheap, and you can sell it here in America, maybe half the price that you could sell it in if you were making it in America, and you were making more money because you could sell more shoes than if it was made in America, my dear. So it's always a question of money. And it's where there is something. I don't want, all of a sudden I talk about America, and I am an American. But, the big thing, we are the richest country in the world. And what does that mean? It's very, very strange that if you look at America, there is something like 30, I believe I'm not sure the exact number, but 36,000 churches in America. Means that all the Americans, millions and millions of Americans believe in God and go to church in the morning, the Saturday or the Sunday morning. And at the same time, my dear, I don't know if the preacher said that, but at the same time, and I believe it in Matthew, in the Evangel of St. Matthew, you cannot serve two masters at the same time, God and money. So, in other words, to have the favor of God, we did something very, very smart. We put the name of God on the banknotes. So every time that you have the more banknotes, the more you give thanks to God. Isn't that wonderful? America has been able to go over the Bible. Maybe nobody realized that, but it's the reality.
Is the U.S. dollar the only one that says that?
They trust in God? Yeah. Oh yes, that's the only one, only in America, my dear. We are the model of the world in everything, including in that. We have been able to put together God and money.
It's hard to believe that in Muslim countries it doesn't mention Allah on the banknote?
No, absolutely not. Nowhere. I have never seen God in one of the... You know that I am born in France. I have never seen the name of God on anybody. Everybody would laugh in France if you put the name of God on the banknote. There would be innumerable jokes about it. Here it's more than serious. So we have God for us because we put God on the banknote. And doing that, we solve the problem of you don't do two things at the same time, work for God and work for money. It's forbidden by the Bible, but we do it here. We can do it absolutely here. No problem.
That's
And
amazing. I learned something today, Nis.
it goes further than that, my dear. Society is the groupment of interdependent people who are dependent of each other and each other. Okay, no. That is not business. It's where you spend your money. No, business where you get your money is the reverse. It's exactly the reverse. You are not interdependent, you are competitive. If you can kill the competition, you will have the business of the competition. In other words, in one way, you're supposed to be nice with the other people. In the other way, you're supposed to kill them. But that America has been able to put God and money together. See that? It's beautiful.
So, all right. So let's project out 5 years from now, 2025.
Yeah,
How do you see how do you see the
no,
world?
no, two things, dear. Let's put abstractly speaking, or we can succeed with the third, with what we are doing, or not. And two things. If we not, it goes on and it goes. We will see. We will fight with. We will fight. The normal development of humanity. Always fighting. Some are starving, and if the population is, as scientists pretend, growing, then tell me how we will feed that population. Now, if we were successful, you need several years, you need years. People need to change their mind and to change their habit of being. If we are successful, we are changing the mentality of a country. And so it's very, very difficult, because after several centuries, America is several centuries old, several centuries of the same politics, how can you, in 5 years, change completely? That will be difficult.
The path that we're going on, do you see a cashless society? Do you see robots starting to take over? I mean, we're seeing robots starting to take over now.
That's where we must interfere, my dear. We must interfere because that is maybe the greatest danger in the world: artificial intelligence and robots. That is, and I say it all the time, but it is the repetition of the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, if you remember, was the steam engine, basically the steam engine. And it's why even in the Constitution, it was about the time of the Constitution, they don't talk at all about that. The only word about the people in the Constitution is the welfare of the people. It doesn't go any further. They don't give any recipes for the welfare of the people. It's okay. So the Industrial Revolution is the history of people with enough money to buy the steam engine, because the steam engine allows to build a complete society with all the machines and everything. And for that society, you still need a certain number, not a big number, but a certain number of workers. So you hire those workers, and to be sure that they stay in your society, you build a town around the society. And those towns are absolutely disgusting. The richest country in the world, which was England at that time, when you look at, even in the 19th century, when you look at London, the street of London in the 19th century is absolutely disgusting. And the town that they built around the factories were absolutely ugly. It was shacks where you had the example of people sleeping 6 in bed, 3 in one way and 3 in the other way. Prostitution, everything you wanted, that was it. And why? Because the money was in the hands of few people. And those few people hired the people they needed for their factory, and the others, they could die. So it's why they became communist. That's the reason why. And it's where I say capitalism has created communism by giving a terrible life to most of the workers. Who communists say, hey, if we are communists, you will have a better morning. So they did follow. That's it. So we are today much more I should say, biggest and biggest in the situation that artificial intelligence and robots can take over the world. Where you have intelligence artificial, you had 100 men, you need 1 man. Or you have 1,000 men, you need 10 men. So you can throw away all the workers, everybody. And you can eventually, what is even worse than that, is that you will possess all the radio stations, all the TV stations, you will possess everything. And you will tell the people what you want to tell them. And you will raise the kids as you want to raise them. And they will be forever the slave of the people who run the world.
And so what will be the purpose of people?
The what?
What's the purpose of people once robots start doing all the jobs?
The people are useless, my dear. The people are useless, that they were useless. There were a lot of people, don't forget that the population and at the time of the Constitution was not at all the population of today. So it was a reduced comparatively to today. It was a very reduced population. Today it's a big population, and supposedly, no, it's not supposedly, they still make children, So it's a population which grows. And at the same time of the population grows, the need of the population is diminishing, can be absolutely almost of nobody. You will have the robots. Robots can build a complete house in 24 hours. So instead of workers, we will be for several weeks to build that house. You will have a robot. We will make the house in. Well, so you don't need the workers. So
And what do you think the plan to do with all these workers is?
Oh, that's where, my dear, the example of the people in shacks. They can still be people in shacks. You can be miserable in not maybe in shacks in a house that your house and be a miserable guy. You will have 10 liters of gas by months. You will have that much this by months, and that will be it. If they want you to survive, no, they can also let you die. You will be that less that they will have to take care of.
And you think that's what's going to happen?
Oh yes. It has always been demonstrated by humanity. It has always been demonstrated, and there is no way that. Do you see that the people who today have a lot of money, what do they do with their money? They elect the guy that they want to elect.
So should people today start to develop their own tribes and their own civilizations to survive this?
Yes, my dear. We should, if possible, have from the government a certain number of things that a better education. Education in this country is a scandal. When you see the price of education, Princeton University, $40,000 for the year, and many universities are 25, 26, 30. That is an absolute scandal, my dear.
And what kind of education should it be? If everybody is going to get kicked out of their jobs, why bother going for an education? Maybe it should be how to survive on less, how to wash your clothes when you don't have a washing machine, how to, you know what I mean?
But it's where I also said that education must be followed by something. Number one, I give education in 3 parts. The number one is the classic, the books to learn, blah, blah, blah. Number 2 is that you should be exposed to all the arts. And when I say exposed to the arts, all the kids of any age should go to theater according to their age, and could go to concerts, to go to things like that. And the number 3 thing is that all the young men, when they start to get a little young, should be able to do something like gliding or horse riding or things like that. We are so far from that, and we will remain absolutely, completely far of that if we have the people, there is a monopoly of money and eyes, artificial eyes and robots. We'll be completely out of that.
Well, perhaps they should also learn how to do basic farming or gardening. Grow a garden so you're able to produce your own food if you need
If you can, my dear. If you can, because even to produce your own food, you have to have the tools, you have to have the food, you have to have what you plant, you have to have you have to have a lot of things, and you have to eat during that time yourself.
How to take care of goats?
Yeah, even if you take care of goats, even if you take care of goats, you have to have lunch, because the goats have lunch. Them they manage, they eat everything. But you have to have lunch in that time. And how do you have lunch? If it's an artificial eyes would give you lunch.
Yeah, it's like if there's no jobs, I guess maybe they'll provide you with a basic living.
And you know what the people will do? You don't know that, but you kill for a piece of bread. And if you have population which have nothing, which are poor population, who do not eat, and there will be a lot of fight between people for a piece of bread.
So you think though people will turn on each other as opposed to going after the people with the money?
Yeah, because what is absolutely fantastic is that we still go on. You see, we are talking about artificial eyes like if we had no lesson from the first steam engine. It's absolutely, if humanity never learns. Never learns. Repeat from one generation to the next generation the same mistakes. Exactly the same mistakes.
So if the rich have an army of robots, can they be defeated?
Why do you have a armored vehicle in Princeton? Answer me.
That I don't get. Unless they're expecting some kind of massive trouble.
That's the same question that you're asking. The same question, in fact, you enlarging the question, but it's the same problem. Why this or why that? Why already artificial intelligence? You have some society where you had 100 people use, to make all the blah 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 blah, and now you have 2 people instead of 100. It's already exist. So how do you compensate that? By what? And with a growing population, no way. The population is growing. Even in the United States, which limits everything, it's growing. If you look at the number, it's growing. You cannot stop that. And we are not talking about countries where the kids, every woman makes 6 kids. So how will you feed, or will you direct all those people when they will have nothing? It will be war, my dear, war forever, because once more you kill for a piece of bread. And one nation will invade another one to have their bread. That's what we are going to.
And you've seen it before, too, in World War II.
You see it all the time, my dear. You see it in World War II, you see it in World War I, you see it in 18, whatever it is, you see it in 17, whatever it is. You see it all the time, all the time. And one nation always still, and even when you look at the wars, there was war for the war. 1914 was the most stupid war of all. 2 families fighting together. We lost 1 million people for 2 families which were not of the same advice. We were fighting together. We went for that. 11 million people. And 11 million people during that time. Once more, the agriculture and all thing is lousy, and everything is lousy, And at the end of it, what do? We ask the loser to pay for the war. So the loser, when we ask Germany to pay for the World War I, what did we do? We created Hitler. We created the guy who, when everything went wrong in Germany, the guy could say, hey, I'm going to save you. And everybody follow him. But you believe we take a lesson from that? Did we take a little lesson for that? We are going to give lessons to everybody. And if you are not agree with us, we have all the armies in the world to make you believe what we are saying.
So this paints a pretty bleak picture.
Huh?
It paints a pretty bleak picture.
Yes.
So, but there is an option, right?
Of course, there is always an option. Needs to know if the people, it's terrible to say that, but you see, for example, Christianity. I'm not talking about the others. Huh? I'm just talking about one that I maybe know a little better than the others. I'm not sure of that, but nevertheless. Christianity took over. America is basically Christian. Basically. Different sides of Christian, because Christian could not stay once. They always disagree, of course, about this or about that. So now you have 300 or something like that, the definition of Christians. And when you go to any street here, you see a church, the church of this or the church of that and the church of that. That did not make the people more nicer in business, not at all. Did that make the people nicer in business? No, my dear, absolutely not. And don't worry, if they were starving something, you will find somebody to take your bread. Don't worry about that.
Well, what positive things might happen?
The positive things may happen is when we start to think. And what are we offering? We're offering something which is just, let's say, a little more just for everybody. We will try to make a humanity out of the permanent menace of war. We have to transform humanity in one humanity. We are all humans, and we have all the same problems. Problem of humanity. Now, that America is the richest, the most this, the most that, very good. And once more, they are so smart that they put God in their sight, which the others have not been able to do. So we should be able to spread the ideas and eventually to realize the ideas. If we don't listen, if we don't try, it will never happen. I should say that when you look at all the movement, the philosophy, the whatever you want of the world since the world is world, it is the very first time that we offer a positive philosophy. The very first time that we offer a positive philosophy, a philosophy that would make men all interdependent instead of being competitive. That is the big deal. We are not competitive, we are interdependent. And the nation should be interdependent instead of being competitive. That's it.
And if people wanted to read this philosophy, how can they read that?
We can send them, they can ask, there is an address, they can ask to have a copy of that, and we can send copy printed or email copies to them anytime they want.
But you have a website and people can read this?
Yeah.
And
the website is no-pennies.com.
And an email address?
The email address is Michel Mokers, one word, gmail@gmail.com.
Yeah, because we're getting close to the end of the program, and I wanted to make sure that we have enough time to talk about. So you're going to be at the Sunset Flea Market in Griggstown.
Yes,
next weekend.
Yes.
So the flea market raises money for what exactly?
To tell you the truth, I don't even know for what. I believe it.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe it's to keep the little house and everything,
the community
to keep that,
center and everything.
Yeah.
So it's the community coming together for this community house
it's the community. I made a little painting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the welcome to Sunset Hill.
And so if people wanted to come out and meet you, they could come to the flea market next weekend?
Absolutely.
It's on Saturday.
I will be very happy to. I will be very, very happy to talk with some people.
And you'll be manning the lemonade stands?
Yes, every year I sell the lemonade.
And you'll be signing autographs if people want?
Absolutely.
And you might actually, can you sneak a couple of these documents in with you?
Oh, yes,
and,
absolutely.
If people wanted to come and get a hard copy, they could?
They will be welcome.
Okay. So I plan to be there too, just to at least to stop by and say hello.
I will give you a copy.
Well, I have lots of copies. We want to keep them for the curious. But they don't have to pay for the copies.
No, absolutely not.
But
The
they have to
copies are-
pay for the lemonade.
Yeah, because the lemonade, it's not myself, it's the whole organization, it's the whole club, you know. So the club has to survive, they have to take care of the trees, they have to take care of the roof, they have to take care of everything, you know. So I sell the lemonade.
So the reason why I mention that, folks, is because we won't be doing a show next week. So
Yeah.
Michelle can raise money for the community center, help raise money for the community center.
I don't know if I will raise a lot of money with my lemonade, but I will try.
And it's good lemonade. I had some last year.
Oh, it's good lemonade. Yeah, it's lemonade. No, it's a nice product. You don't buy water, you buy lemonade.
And if people go to this, what can they see at this?
I don't know what they have, you know, but you know what it is. You have a lot of people selling a lot of things. I buy myself, last year I bought several things. We bought glasses, and I bought some books. And, you know, people take a table to sell things that they have that they want to sell. So it's very, very, very variety. It goes from I don't know, clothes. It goes everything. You can find absolutely everything.
Yeah. Live music and food. And I know if people are record collectors, they can find old records and stuff like that there.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes.
all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yes.
And it's a fun time. Let's just cross our fingers that it's good weather. Is there a rain date?
It's the next day, I believe. The next day, I
It
believe,
would be
is
on
the next
Sunday
day.
if it
You're
rains.
right.
'Cause-
Maybe you want to say where it is.
Oh, it's in Griggstown. The address is, I guess it's Sunset Lane. But if folks are in the Griggstown area, if you go down Bunker Road, you'll see a huge sign that
Yeah,
says.
you see the sign on Bucker Road.
And okay, so I think we've
I think we have a
just
big
about
success.
run out of time. We hope to see everybody next weekend at the
Absolutely.
Sunset Hill Flea
And
Market.
you will drink my lemonade.
I certainly will.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm not quite sure how long the email address info@radiofreewill.com is going to last, but you can still reach us there. And so signing off for today, for this week's episode, we'll see everybody in about 2 weeks.